Hi, welcome back again. If you're new here, this is the part 2 of this video. We have part 1 where we actually started drafting. If you're yet to see that, please check the description box or comment section for part 1 on how we drafted what you're seeing here. So in today's video, we are going to be dealing with the complete process. Let's get right into it. So I have my pattern here, and then I already marked the same way we did at the front, and then I mark my neck width of 3 inches to this side, and then to this side neck width of 3 inches, and then neck depth 1 inch. Remember, this is the back. We don't really need it anyways. We are making asymmetric, remember. Then from here, I'm going to mark my shoulder measurement divided by 2, which is 7. I'll repeat the same thing on this side. Remember how we did it in the previous video. So after doing that, I'm going to come down by 8 inches. So this is my chest line, armhole, whatever you guys call it. So this is what I have here. I'm going to go ahead and then create my line like so. Then my 7 inches shoulder measurement, I'll also mark it on both sides. Then I'll go ahead and then connect it like so, and then repeat the same thing here. Then my shoulder slant of 1.5 inch, I'm going to mark it on both sides. Remember, whatever you are doing here, you're also doing it here, just like we did previously. Then my back, I'm going to find the midpoint at this point by folding my tape. I'm going to go in by 0.5 inch and then do the same thing here. This is just a repetition of what we did previously, marking your measurement and everything. So I'll connect here. Then the next thing I'm going to do is to impute my round ball circumference divided by 4 on both sides. Then I'll go ahead and then connect, all right, to create my armhole like so. After doing that, I'm going to mark my back half length. So my back half length is 14.5 inch. Remember, when we actually drafting the front, I actually used 16 inches. Now I'm using 14.5. Remember, I used my 1.5 inch as my side dart, so that's actually the reason I did that. All right, that's the difference between my front half length and back half length. So from my waist, I'm going to come down by 9 inches as my hip line. I'll go ahead and then mark out my hip line like so and label it out as well. So I'm going to go ahead and mark my nipple to nipple measurement divided by 2, which is 4 inch, both on my hip line, my waistline, and then on my chest line as well, just as you can see. I'll go ahead and then connect the 3 lines together, just as you can see me do. And then for my dart intake, I'm also going to be doing 0.5, sorry. Remember, that was what we used at the front. So connect everything down to your hip line. Do the same thing here. Connect 0.5. Connect also down to your hip line as well. All right. So when we are done doing that, the next thing we are going to do is to mark your round waist circumference divided by 4. From the midline, mark 7. I'm marking 7 inches, right? Then I will replace 1 inch as my dart intake. That is actually for me. So whatever your round waist circumference is, divide it by 4 and then mark. And then remember to replace your dart as well. So I'm going to go ahead. At this point, you can obviously see that I made a mistake. Instead of connecting to that 1 inch, I went ahead to connect to my actual waistline. So my normal hip circumference is what I just marked. I'm going to connect it down like so. And then on this side, you can see the moment I realized that I made a mistake here. Instead of connecting to the 1 inch, I connect to my actual waistline. So pardon me for the double line that we are going to be having here. So I'm going to correct that. I'm sorry about this. Then I'm connect down to my hip line. My round hip circumference divided by 4 is what I'm connecting to now. So after doing that, the next thing I'm going to do is to go up by 2 inches, 2 inches on this side, just like we did at the front, and then 0.5 inches at this point. So it's almost a repetition of what we did at the front, just a few difference, as you can obviously see. Then you're going to come over here, go out by 0.75, just like we did as well. Connect. This is actually to have that space around the hip line. If you don't need it, there's no need for this. You can do 0.5 inch if you think 0.75 would be too much for you. So depending on what you want. So I'll connect, and then remember to always blend it into your waist. All right. After doing that, the next thing we are going to do is to bring in the front pattern. remember when we are cutting, it's going to be right side facing the right side. So this pattern you are seeing, what I'm going to do now is to turn it all the way around. All right, so please watch carefully. This is one of the easy way to actually do this, so that you won't end up cutting and then realize that it's not actually facing the side it's supposed to face. So I'm going to turn it around now, if you can actually see this carefully. So what this is indicating that, remember we join right side facing the right side, this side is going to be high while this side is going to be low. All right, so the same way you see me do when you are cutting on your fabric, this is how you are going to cut it. So I brought out one of the side fronts now to actually indicate the side that is going to be down and then the side that is going to go up. So all I need to do now is to indicate this point just like the front. All right, so it should align with the side front, and then from here just connect to where the side front stops. So that is all for the back neckline. So after doing that, you're going to come over here and then remember to extend it. All right, remember it's not going to have armhole, so that is why we're actually doing that. And then I am going to take my dart to that point as well. And then this one individual differences, you can actually just sew off your dart, or you can slit it to the shoulder, but our advice is just sew off your dart instead of slitting, so depending on you. So we are going to also tighten this point a little so that at least everything will be firm. So just as you can see me do now, I just did just 0.35, just 0.35. That is actually okay. So after doing that, this is what we have. Remember to also go in by 0.5 inch on both sides of your waistline. All right, remember this is the where the zipper is going to be, so go in by 0.5 inch on both sides and then come down by that same inches. So this is actually to avoid having bulge. So this is it for our center back to side back. So this is actually if you want to slit this point, but if you don't want to, there's no need. Just take this side as back. All right, just take it as back or side back, whatever. Take it as your back pattern, and then this one we can call it the center back and side back. All right, so depending, like I said, if you want to slit it open. So this is what I have. I'm going to go ahead and then cut this whole piece out. So the allowance that we added here, that we took off here, if you want to replace it, you can go ahead and add 0.5 inch at the waistline on both sides. If you don't want, you can actually leave it. It will only help your dress or your top actually like grab or hold your waist area very well. But on the norm, if I'm making this dress, if you have actually watched me, I always reduce my waist circumference so that it will be firm. So I advise you don't replace, but notwithstanding, for the purpose of tutorial, you can see that I actually did replace. So if you want to, you obviously have seen how I did it. So I'll go ahead and then cut out everything. Remember to always align this point, because the moment your dart always actually alter the length of whatever you are making. So when you're done cutting off your dart, always try to realign your neckline or whatever area that you are working with. All right, so I'm just going to go ahead and then cut this whole piece. I remember, like I said, for this back part of the back, you can choose to slit it open, you can choose to leave it. So I'm going to leave it like this and then just sew off the dart. So this is it for the back. This is where the zipper allowance is going to be. So you can actually choose to go deeper, all right, for the center back, because you don't want it hanging too close to your neckline at the back. So you can obviously see how I did it. I just reduced by a few inches, sorry, so that the back neckline will be a bit deeper. So I made a mock-up of this. So this is what we have. Let's say, for instance, you are done sewing. This is what you are going to be having. All right, so after doing this, what we are going to do now is we are going to take the circumference of the neckline. So this is the back. I covered my dart, so in case you are sewing the dart and not slitting it, this is what you are going to have. So go ahead and then take your round neckline. So from about 1 inch before your zipper, all right, about 1 inch before where your zipper is going to be, you are going to start taking your measurement from there. And then remember that we have an extension that is going to be hanging below our arm, all right, below your arm. So that is what I am doing with my tape now, depending on what you want. So if this is okay, if what I'm doing now is okay, just take your own, check exactly where you want yours to stop. All right, and then that is all. We are going to go ahead now and cut out what we are going to use. So this is actually 4.5 inches by the neck circumference that I have. All right, so measure yours, and then whatever you have is what you are going to use. So this is the length I'm going to be working with, and I have roughly 38 inches, and then this is a 4.5 inch. So what we are going to do, please guys watch, remember this is paper that I'm working with, but for you, after sewing yours, what you are going to do now is to length, just before you actually cut out, use paper, and then you are going to fold in around your armhole to the point that you are going to leave out. All right, so that is how you are going to know the part that you are going to trim. So just as you can see me folding, because it's not going to be the same width with the side that is going to be hanging out, so that is why you are seeing me fold the area that I'm folding right now. So for you, you are going to first of all cut out on paper, then after folding, you know the point that you are, when you know the point you are going to cut out, just go over, cut that off before sewing. So this way the part that will be hanging out will not be of the same length with the part that is going to be around the neck area. So this is what this thing is representing now. So just as you can see now, as I fold it out, I'm going to cut it out because I won't be needing that, so that it will be lower at this point, and then the part that will be hanging out will be larger, or the width will be more than the side that is going to be at this point. So hope this is clear enough. Please remember, if you have any question, always ask in the comment section. So if that is clear enough, I have my normal basic sleeve here. So what I'm going to do is to measure what I have here, and then what you are going to do is to bring in your pattern paper. So remember, what I use actually for my shoulder to wrist is 24 inches, but I have 22.5 inch here, so I have roughly 3 inches or 2.5 inch off. So what I'm going to be cutting on bias. So whatever I measure there, I'm going to divide it by 3.15. remember that is the formula for half circle. So I already folded this into 2, and then I'm folding on bias. I'm going to mark 3 inches as my radius intake, just as you can see me do, because I already divided what I measured there by 3.14. So I'm going to go ahead and then mark. It's supposed to actually be 5 inch, but as you can see, I am marking 4 inches. That's because of the length of my paper. So when you are doing yours, please make sure it's up to 5 inches. So this is what I have here now. All you are going to do is to fold it into 2 like so, and then you are going to reduce one side of it. All right, so just take your pencil or your scissors, whatever, reduce one side of it. Please make sure it doesn't touch the radius, because that's the point you are adding to the down of the sleeve. Then just as you can see, curve in and then reduce one side of it by a few inches. 1 inch will be enough, or maybe 1.25 inch. Then go ahead and then add it to this point, and then that is all for this tutorial. Please note that the slitted point is going to be like at the center. It's not going to be at the back, just like the way we usually do it. So this is it. Just as you can see, after joining this part, this is where it's going to be. This is the side that is going to be facing. So hope this is clear. So this is it for this. I went ahead to make a mock-up of this. So guys, at this point, for this side of it, you are going to sew it in between your lining. All right, so for this point, about few inches before your zip allowance to this particular end is going to be in between your fabric and your lining. All right, and then this side, you are just going to leave it hanging, and then come over to the back, as you can see, and then attach it at this point. So this is actually how you are going to sew this to get it perfectly without any trouble. So this is it for this video. Thank you so much for watching. I will see you some other time.